Good evening, everyone. Before I officially call this meeting to order, I wanted to take a minute to run through our agenda just so that we're all on the same page as to what we have going on this evening. Additionally, I know BevCam is ready to roll. Thank you, Kim, in the BevCam booth. So I know that we are connected not only with folks here in person, but also with anyone watching live streaming or from home on cable, Channel 6. Thank you, Kim. So this evening, we have a presentation right at the start of our evening from Sue Gabriel from Beverly Bootstraps. So we'll start right off with Sue once we call to order. And then we do have a 7:30 public hearing scheduled. We have 3 resident speakers signed up, so just depending on our timing before we get to 7:30, we'll try to take speakers. If we don't before the public hearing, we'll go to speakers right after the public hearing. We do need to open public hearings at their publicly noticed time. And then we have some routine business to take care of. We will take a break for some committee work, and then we'll be back to finish everything up. So with that, I'll officially call to order this regular meeting of the Beverly City Council, Tuesday, April 16th, 7:00 p.m. Ms. Kent, will you please call the roll?
Bowen? Here. Crowley? Here. Feldman? Here. Hausman? Here. Rotundo? Here. Spang? Here. St. Hilaire? Here. Sweeney? And Flowers?
Here. Thank you, Ms. Kent. Councillor St. Hilaire, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Of the United States of America, for which it stands, one nation, under indivisible, with justice for all. Thank you very much, Councillor St. Hilaire. As promised, we will go right to our presentation. We do have Sue Gabriel, Executive Director of Beverly Bootstraps, here with us. As folks may know from following along, it's part of our habit, part of what we like to do, to have regular nonprofits and partners in the city come in and offer some updates, let us know what's going on, and we love having Beverly Bootstraps come to offer an update. So, Ms. Gabriel, it's a pleasure to have you back with us. I'll turn things over to you.
Thank you very much. Council inviting. Know what we're doing with that funding and what's going on, and always say, if you could figure out a way to get more into the budget, that would be very much appreciated, because it's crazy at Beverly Bootstraps right now. The city is so incredibly fortunate to have an organization like ours, but we were founded by the community, and we really need the community's help right now. I'm going to go through, I don't have a long presentation, but just a few slides, just to remind you of what we do and to let you know how much more of it we've been doing in the last couple of years. So our mission statement was up there. Hopefully folks had an opportunity to take a look. We have 2 areas particularly that we are feeling some strain right now. One is rental assistance and other types of support. Folks are coming in at almost an alarming rate right now. And I know this is it's not a new story, and multiple factors are coming together to create this. Obviously, we are coming out of the pandemic still. A lot of that federal assistance has now gone away for folks. The cost of housing is incredibly high. And as we all know, when we go to the grocery store, everything else has gone up as well. So people are really, really feeling pinched. Does that work better?
However you want to do it, I'll let you know.
All right. Well, you do. How about if I turn this way? That's much better. Okay. All right. Fabulous. So, and I'll go on that side. I don't know how that works. Okay. All right. Work? Great. Fantastic. So as I was saying, it's really tough out there for folks, and I'm sure I'm not telling anybody anything that they don't already know. But it's astounding. We've actually had to put this department on a budget. We've never had to do that before. We anticipate that we will go through the entire budget of $120,000 for assistance for folks and that's a huge increase, and we're budgeting more for next year. We are also leveraging at least that, if not more, from other sources in the city. And we're very, very fortunate in Beverly to have those, I went away for a minute, those other resources. The other place that we're seeing it is in our, well, actually, this actually shows you what's going on for us. Number of client visits. So we pulled some quarter-over-quarter data because we haven't finished out this fiscal year yet. We're in the last quarter of our year. But you can see the last 3 years in a row, the incredible increase. We've more than doubled, almost tripled in the number of client visits that our team is seeing, and we've definitely doubled the number of households that are coming to us for this kind of assistance. So again, it's a little alarming for us. As most of you probably know, we started as a food pantry. Food insecurity was the reason that we started this organization over 30 years ago. And certainly it is much needed these days. Our demand has more than doubled. We have an average of over 100 visits every day that we're open. We're open 4 days a week. And so we're doing easily more than 400 households every week. And that is astounding for us. I've been doing this work for almost 16 years. I can't get over it. It's a lot. We're running a small grocery store is really truly what's going on over at Beverly Bootstraps. And it's alarming. And we're all trying to, as an organization, figure out how do we keep doing this work and supporting the folks in our community and a couple of the surrounding communities to make sure they're not going to bed hungry, and to make sure that their housing is secure, that they don't end up unhoused. And it's hard work right now. At the same time, we're still trying to see if we can get people up and out. We have over 150 students with us every week, either in our English language classes or in our HSE program, which is a program so that they can get ready to go take the 5 tests that they have to take in order to get their high school equivalency exam, and that's a grueling process. And mostly we actually have one-to-one tutors working with our students. We so far have 8 graduates this year, and it looks like we might hit 11 before the end of the fiscal year, which is really exciting for us, but especially meaningful for those students who have finally had some success in their lives. Studying. And we hope that that means that they can then use some of the resources that we have through our college and career readiness program so that they can figure out what is next for them, to go get a certificate program, to become a plumber, to become a truck driver. We've had all kinds of stories. We have a few people who have actually ended up with their MBA over the years. So whatever that path is, we're so happy to be one of the first places on their journey. Our youth and family, the need has also exploded in these programs. So we call them our budget buster programs because that's just what they are. Most of our families, these things sort of sneak up on them. It's not part of their regular expenses, and so as the school year comes about, it can be very expensive to have to go to Target or Walmart or Staples to try to figure out how to buy all of those notebooks and pencils and pens that the kids need. We actually were able to do over 900 children this last summer. We're gearing up for more than that this year. And amazingly, we were able to serve over 800 children with holiday gifts. Our building was packed. It's amazing, absolutely amazing. And I want to say the flip side of this is the generosity of the community. It's really stunning. Our tax return program has just finished up. So I actually don't have numbers from this year, but I can tell you we beat last year. So last year we did 428 returns. We returned over $600,000 back into the community. That's really good for all of our local businesses, and it's really great for those folks who come in and get their taxes done for free if they qualify, if they're low income. I want to point out we're one of the few sites up on the North Shore. We have a couple at some of the senior centers, but we're really we're really in demand. So I know we did over 450 tax returns, and just a huge shout out, because it's mostly volunteers who do our tax returns in this program, which is amazing. How can you help? If you're at home, think about just pop us a check, donate some food. You can volunteer with us. And if you're cleaning out your closet or your kitchen cabinets, if you have things that are in really great shape, please bring them down to Beverly Bootstrap's thrift shop. Our thrift shop, all the net proceeds go right back into our programming. And for any of you, please vote in the money that gets in the line item in the budget this year. I'm happy to take any questions, but I don't want to hold you up too long.
Thank you very much, Ms. Gabriel. Counselors, are there questions or comments for Ms. Gabriel? Counselor Rotundo.
It's just more as a statement. I want to thank you for all the good work. I know I've called you many, many times, especially with Apple Village residents. I know you've gone above and beyond, unfortunately, you're trying to get up there, but unfortunately, some of our residents up there just weren't well into embrace, but you do go up there with your mobile food mart. I know a lot of residents go down to get food down at the Bootstrap. So I do want to tell you, thank you for all the work you do, especially up there, because like I said, I recognize it. I know when I get phone calls from residents who are struggling with assistance, rental assistance, and they're not sure, I send them your way, and you're always there to help them and at least get them into the right area. So thank you.
Counselor Bowen.
There we go. I just also wanted to add my thanks and thanks as well for your collaboration with the city and with other groups across the city. I think being able to identify where there are needs and help fill them and figure out who can fill them is as valuable as the services each organization is able to provide, because it covers more. And so my only question is just if you're seeing any other gaps. Obviously, there are greater needs for the services that you're providing, but are there other gaps around the city that we should be thinking about, other types of services folks are looking for that currently are falling through the cracks?
No, affordable or market rate. The supply is not there for the demand. And so I think until that starts to right itself, we're just going to see these enormous rents, and that's really what's putting so much pressure on. So I think about zoning and things like that just allow for more thoughtful housing. Like we all know we don't want to have crazy housing, but more thoughtful housing that just would be helpful in this whole big scheme of what the pressure is. And anytime we can encourage employers to be in the area, that's really great. But we have to be able to get the folks who want to work there housed, and so that they can be here to work. So it's this whole big cyclical thing. So, and we love to collaborate because we get tired. We're so happy we have partners.
Other questions or comments for Ms. Gabriel from the council? Ms. Gabriel, I just have one. I wondered if you could just talk briefly about the food locker program. I think that might be, it's a newer program for Bootstraps, but maybe new to some of us up here. And I wonder if you want to talk a little bit about what you're doing with that.
I'd love to. Thanks for the prompt.
Thank you.
So about a year ago, we installed and actually launched a food locker program. So it would be something like you might see at Whole Foods. It's in a parking lot downtown. We actually don't usually put the actual location out because it's part of the dignity for people to use it. And they are temperature controlled, which means they don't get overly cold in the winter, and we can actually keep things cool in the summer. And so we've been serving people this way for about a year. They go on to an app and they order their food, and then they drive up, they get a code, they just can pop it in, and the locker pops open, they can take their groceries and go. And we actually got a grant from the state, and we are putting a second locker system onto our own property. And in an attempt to, number one, give more access to food at strange hours, if someone can't get to our food pantry. And secondly, we're kind of hoping that a few people who are using our pantry might actually gravitate towards this program, because it's actually getting challenging to have the number of people coming through our food pantry when it's open. So we're excited. We've been sold out just on a very regular basis.
Thank you.
Sure.
I see Counselor Feldman's hand, so Counselor Feldman, we'll go to you. Oh, your microphone, please, Counselor. Thank you.
Okay. One comment and thanks, of thanks, is that not only I've been involved with both Scouts and with our church and our PTO have done drives before for Bootstraps, and I really just want to commend Bootstraps and your staff, Deb especially, in terms of not only are you serving the community that you're serving, but I have now been through a couple of lovely tours where the kids that have done the work to collect things have gone through the facility and had everything explained to them. And it really, I think it's educating our whole community on the needs, not just those that need the services. And I think that is a really valuable addition. And I'm just so proud that you're in Beverly, because, and you and Deb are both Ward 5 residents, so I'm especially proud. And so I just wanted to thank you for that aspect of things, because it's not just dropping things off. It was a thoughtful approach to showing my sons that had done the drop-off, like the facility and how it works for a family that would need to use the grocery store. And it is a grocery store. I mean, that's really impressive. So anyone that wants to do a drive, you'll get a tour too, so.
Thank you. Yeah, and you're right. That's a little bit new. We tried to add that capacity because we do think it's really important that people understand how important it is to donate and give, and that collectively we're all responsible for each other. And that's one great way to start to help, particularly the kids, understand. And Deb is amazing. Our entire staff is amazing, but Deb's incredible in that position, no question.
Thank you, Counselor Feldman. Any other questions or comments, counselors?
Well, thank you so much for having me again this year, and keep up your good work.
Thank you very much, Ms. Gabriel.
Well, the term itself, I think, dates back a long, long way, and it had to do with, I think, the cowboys, actually, and the bootstraps that are on the top, and it was kind of like pull yourself up by your bootstraps is sort of the origins of it. So it's an idea of, if you come down to our organization and you come in, that's the first step in helping yourself. So come down, talk to us, we'll connect you, because it does have to be a partnership. People have to make an effort, some sort of an effort, right, to come down and access our services. So that's the origin of it.
Thank you. Thanks, Ms. Gabriel, for being here, and thanks for presenting, and thanks, as other counselors have said, for the work that you and your team do every day in our community. Thank you.
Thank you.
We do have a window of time. I don't think we may, but I don't think, given the time, we'll get to all three of our resident speakers before 7:30, but let's go to begin that, and then we'll come back to anyone we don't get to. As folks may know, but it's, I think, always helpful to reiterate at this point in the meeting, if you're watching or following along, we do have these 3 resident speaker spots at the start of each of our regular meetings, and these are available first come, first serve at the opportunity for the clerk to be working on the next agenda. So right now, that means the May 20th agenda will be opening up next. And you can contact the clerk anytime up to the meeting day by 9:30 that morning. But as I said, they are first come, first serve, and these are for anyone who's living in Beverly who wishes to address the council. You have up to 5 minutes for each speaker. It's not a question and answer, so you will not see the council engage in questions back and forth with these speakers. But as I always say, it is an important part of our meeting, and we do appreciate everyone who comes and speaks. So with that, I will ask for our first resident speaker, Jean Fana. If Jean is not here, we'll go to our second speaker signed up, Bob Mason. And Mr. Mason, I know this is probably familiar for you, but just again, for clarity for everybody following along, Vice President Crowley is our timekeeper, among other roles he plays as a counselor. And so you do have up to 5 minutes. Counselor Crowley will keep the time just to make sure it's fair for everyone. That's why we like to do it in a way that is easily discernible for everybody. If you hear his timer go off, if you would just draw your remarks to a close at that point. And if you would begin, even though I gave away your name, with your name and address for the record. Thank you, Mr. Mason.
Thank you. My name is Bob Mason, and I live at 30 Folly Pond Road, number 21, Beverly 01915. This is my second time addressing the council in response to the Israeli government's assault on Gaza. The first time was January 2nd, and at that time there were 22,000 people dead, 60,000 wounded Palestinians, mostly women and children. Now, I want to catch you up on what has been happening since. On April 14th, the Health Advisory Council of Jewish Voice for Peace reported that 33,686 Palestinians had been killed in Gaza. 7,000 were more likely under the rubble, and 76,309 were wounded. 14,000 of the deaths were children, and 17,000 children remain without adult accompaniment. 500,000 Palestinians who stayed in the north of Gaza face imminent death from starvation. I'm sending a link to this report to all council members. And I want to tell you some things about myself so you'll understand why I am still here talking about this. I'm a Jewish Unitarian Universalist, one of the founders of Beverly Ceasefire, a member of Jewish Voice for Peace, and a Palestinian Solidarity ally. By the way, you should know that an overwhelming majority of Democrats are sympathetic to the plight of Palestinians and calling for a ceasefire. A slightly smaller majority of independents are polling similarly. Even a majority of Republicans break this way. Many Jews under 35 no longer equate support for Israel as influencing their identity and their Judaism. They're disturbed by the history of occupation and ethnic cleansing. The legal system that is certainly not democratic, that has established an apartheid system that privileges Israeli Jews over Israeli Palestinians. And they are appalled by the genocidal assault on Gaza. As someone who is 75, I am an outlier in this demographic. My paternal grandfather was a Teddy Roosevelt Republican and member of the Touro Synagogue, the oldest in the U.S. He helped Russian Jews escape through Siberia the violence of the Bolshevik Revolution as an on-the-ground volunteer with the Hebrew Immigration Aid Society, now known as HIAS. My wife and I moved to Beverly from Pittsburgh several years after a gunman slaughtered 11 Jews at the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh, which also housed our prior synagogue. He claimed his hatred of Jews was because HIAS supported immigrants. My maternal grandfather was the executive director of the Jewish Agricultural Society that helped Eastern European Jews purchase farmland in New York and New Jersey, something they weren't permitted to do in their former countries. From their examples and my parents' teachings, I learned the social justice values that represent the best of Judaism. In third grade, my best friend's parents were Jewish refugees from a concentration camp, and I can still picture the tattooed numbers on their arms. When I became a bar mitzvah at 13, Leon Uris's novel Exodus and the blockbuster film based on it inspired Jewish pride in the establishment of Israel. The meme, "A land without people for a people without land," rang out loudly. the Palestinians, who are actually the majority of the population, was essentially erased from popular history. My wife taught Hebrew, and I taught in the religious school at the temple where we were members for over 20 years. We served on the board of trustees. Our children celebrated becoming B'nai Mitzvah and were confirmed. In the 80s, I was confronted with the dark side of Israeli policies after future Prime Minister Ariel Sharon surrounded Palestinian refugee camps in southern Lebanon, and that enabled the Phalange, a right-wing Lebanese militia, to massacre an estimated 3,000 inhabitants. That motivated me to become a member of Peace Now in America, the counterpart of the Israeli Peace Now movement, which was opposing the continued occupation, collective punishment of Palestinians through housing demolition, and ethnic cleansing of the West Bank, Israeli tactics which continue to this day. I will bring this to a close very shortly. I ended up becoming a member of Jewish Voice for Peace and being on the West Bank, helping Palestinian and Israeli activists reestablish Palestinians in their homes in the West Hebron Hills. We were attacked by the IDF for doing so. I'm further appalled that our tax dollars that could be much better spent in our city, state, and country are going to support the genocide in Gaza and the continued occupation and apartheid, and that is really why I see this linked to Beverly. And finally, John Donne, the Protestant minister and poet, expressed it so well when he said, "No man is an island. Everyone's death diminishes me, for I am involved in mankind. Therefore, never ask to know for whom the bell tolls. It tolls for thee." Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mason. We do have a third speaker signed up, and so I'm not going to miss that, but I know that we're about a minute from opening our public hearing, so we'll come back to our next speaker. I know Teresa Mason is waiting to speak, so thank you for patience and waiting. As I said, we do need to open our hearings when they're posted, and then we'll come back around. Thank you so much. We are just about at 7:29, so before I open the hearing, I will just take a moment to say that if you are here hoping to speak in the public hearing on Order 104 with National Grid, the sign-up sheet is over on the table. Am I right? Sign-up sheet is over on the table behind Councilors Hausman, Feldman, and St. Hilaire, sort of as you come in the door, and folks are welcome to get up at any point and add your name to that speaker list. We will take speakers in the public hearing in the order that they are signed up to speak about this National Grid proposed petition. So we will open our public hearing, posted at 7:30 p.m. on order number 104. Ms. Kent.
Order number 104, City of Beverly, order that the City Council of the City of Beverly hold a public hearing on Monday, April 16, 2024 at 7:30 p.m. at 191 Cabot Street, 3rd floor, Council Chambers, relative to National Grid petition W090000222943 to install approximately 40 feet of new 12-inch gas main at 46 River Street, and this is the newspaper on April 5th.
Thank you very much, Ms. Kent. Diana Cuddy, our National Grid rep, is here with us. Ms. Cuddy, I'll invite you to the podium, and if there's anything you'd like to elaborate on about this proposed plan or information that you'd like to offer before I open for questions.
Sure. Good evening. Diana Cuddy, National Grid, 170 Data Drive, Waltham, Massachusetts. I'm here today to request a grant of location for approximately 40 feet of 12-inch pipe crossing River Street, connecting to a station that will be located in our property along 46 River Street. It's mandated by the DPU to install a station there, and this will be the connecting pipe to the main, excuse me, the main that's existing in the street.
Thank you, Ms. Cuddy. Councilors, are there questions on this proposed plan from National Grid? Councilor Spang, please.
Hi, yes. So you said it's going to a new station in the substation?
Yes, yes.
Do you know what that's going to, is it going to be people will be walking inside of it, or it's a small, do you know what size station it is?
So it's a small above-ground and below-ground station in the back of the property, and then connecting pipe will go from that to the edge, and then the part that I'm requesting grant location for will cross River Street. Something happened. We'll cross River Street and connect to the main that's on the far side from across the street from our property.
Okay, if I,
Yes, please.
so you said that the station will be above and underground at the far side of the property. Do you mean close to River Street or close to the Bass River?
Close to the Bass River.
Okay. And is it, I'm sorry, I don't know, is it a station that people walk into, or it just houses infrastructure?
It basically is just their housing infrastructure, but it will allow access for inspections and maintenance and things like that.
Okay.
It's not like a building where someone would have a desk and be stationed. It's more mechanical in nature and just, big enough so people can come in and access it.
Thanks. Just two more questions, sorry.
No, it's all right.
It's towards the Bass River. Is it towards the neighborhood at Goat Hill, or do you know where it is along the?
Let me take a look. It should have been on, I
Parking
think
lot?
it's on the plan that was submitted. Let me
I
just
have a
take
hard time reading this,
quick look.
sorry.
I know, when you shrink them down, it is a little, actually. So the main that's being installed on River Street, it goes basically straight back, and then the station is back there along that property line, and then along the back of our property along the river. Is that?
So I think I saw where you want the main to cross River Street is where Pleasant Street comes in. So you're saying it'll be straight to the river from there, it's not turning?
Let me just look and see if I have that information handy. I don't remember it turning at all. I remember going straight back along. Oh, here we go. All right. So it crosses River Street. So if you're looking at 46, it's to the right along the property line. And there may be, I don't remember what the building next to is. I feel like there's a culvert on that side. Okay, so it's running on the inside on our property along that culvert side, and then it's going to that small building in the back that's approximate.
It's already there.
What's
The
that?
building that's already there?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Thanks. And my only other question was, do you know how traffic is going to be managed? Do they have to actually dig in the street, or are they going to trench under it like they did for the transmission line?
So they're planning on digging in the street and just working in one lane at a time and moving across that way. So there would be two police details there directing traffic.
Great, thank you. Thank you.
Thank
your patience.
Oh,
Thank you,
yeah.
Counselor Spang. Great questions, Counselor Spang, thank you. Counselor Houseman.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, just to follow up a little bit, it appears to me from the plan that's submitted that this main that runs across, plan to run across the street is actually over by the River House side of the property, by the public way walkway that walks down to Bass River. Is that accurate?
So it will cross,
Or is it like really right next to Pleasant Street?
according to the plan, there's an entrance to our property on that, I believe it's the east side, and it's between that entrance and the property line, which I believe is a fence, a chain link fence.
Okay, I guess we're not going to entirely,
It would go underneath the sidewalk if that, there's another plan, another set of plans in there. That's just the sketch for the grant location.
there's this one which shows this as a detail,
Okay,
and the detail seems to show that this runs right next to where River House is and the asphalt public way that walks down to the Bass River. But I guess I would say the plans are not really clear. My question is different, however. So this runs across River Street into National Grid's property to a small substation. It didn't sound like it's one that you walk in. It's sort of maybe like the size of this desk or something.
it's a mechanical substation. Is that?
It's a little bigger than the desk. It's going to have more equipment in it than something that could fit in the desk. It'll be a little structure and then accessible for people to go in and do inspections and routine maintenance and things like that.
So my question is, where on your property does that substation then lead to? Where is it? If it's on your property,
Yep.
that means there's a source, there's a pipe that's leading to that substation.
Right.
Where is that pipe?
In the back of the property.
You say in the back, can you clarify what back means?
I'm not sure I'm allowed to say. I believe that's critical energy infrastructure information. So I can,
Is it closer to River Street or closer to the Bass River? I mean, I'm just trying to get a relative sense, if you can share that.
honestly, for that question, I'm not sure. I know it runs along the back of the property and that this will tie into that.
Okay.
And then regulate the gas coming from that to the main that's in the street. So it offers a redundancy for the city. In case there's a problem someplace else, they can isolate that problem and still supply gas to the rest of the area. So it's a redundant part, and it's mandated by the DPU that we install it.
Okay, thank you. Those are my questions.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor St. Hilaire.
Thank you, Madam President. So I attended one of the recent transmission project citizens advisory meetings, and there was a group of residents from Goat Hill concerned about that property and level of noise and activity going on there in general. Do you know if those concerns are being addressed, and if so, how?
So the National Grid property at River Street?
Yeah.
I'm not aware of that. Our community and customer person will be back a couple weeks from now, and I'm sure Faith Hassel, she kind of has a pulse on things like that, so I can have her reach back out to you about that.
And what level of disruption would this cause in terms of noise and activity?
Well, the plan is to actually do a couple of test pits in the fall in September to see what exactly, if there's ledge or if it's easier digging, and then to go back in and just do the excavation, which would be a typical, backhoe, 3-foot trench, and confine it to that small space, and then work on property, same type of thing.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Houseman, then we'll go to Counselor Spang.
Yeah, just to follow up briefly. So one thing, because I co-chair the Citizen Advisory Committee meeting, one thing we have learned over the last 2 years is the gas company, even though it's National Grid, and the electric company, even though they're National Grid,
They don't talk?
they don't
No.
talk to each other.
That's true.
The one person who is a conduit who sort of bridges that gap is Faith Hassel. So I can provide you contact information for her.
Thank you, Counselor, and I appreciated your conduit pun. Thank you. Counselor Spang.
Hi, yes, I wanted to know, is it okay for those regulating station, it sounds like it's gonna do gas transmission to distribution, something along those lines. Are they okay to be floodable? Because that
Yes.
river does rise.
They
Okay.
are, yes,
So it
yes.
doesn't impact the infrastructure? or
Not
anything
at
like
all.
that?
Nope, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Bowen.
Thank you. I feel like I ask this question with every grant of location, but it feels like there's been a lot of work already in that location. One question is whether it's possible, despite the fact that they're very different projects under different companies under the same umbrella, to access any of the test pit data and construction data from the same
From the
site.
electric side?
And then other question is just, I believe there's been gas work on the main on River Street, leaks, safety work. So just curious if this upgrade will impact that, or if all of that has been resolved and we're not anticipating any other work on River Street itself.
I don't know if that is subject to replacement anytime soon. I don't see any indication of that. This is like a reinforcement to that system. Regarding the test pits, I can definitely find out if we can share that information and maybe minimize how many test pits are done. That's actually a really good point.
Thank you, Counselor. Any other questions or comments from counselors? Thank you. Ms. Kent has the sign-up sheet for members of the public. We have no members of the public here for this public hearing. So seeing that, Ms. Cuddy, thank you. I will close this public hearing and refer it back to the Subcommittee on Public Services for further conversation and for further action. So that means we can return to our resident speaker. Teresa Mason is our third speaker who has signed up. Thank you for your patience. If you also would begin with your name and address for the record, and then you also have up to 5 minutes, and when you hear Vice President Crowley's timer, if you would just draw your remarks to a close. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's good to see you all this evening. My name is Teresa Mason. I live at 30 Folly Pond Road, apartment 21, Ward 1, the city of Beverly, the state of Massachusetts, the United States of America, the northern hemisphere of the planet Earth, the Copernican solar system of the Milky Way galaxy, in the only known universe. I want to be able to say that my city recognizes that it is situated in a larger world, a world that is in desperate need of high moral rectitude, but I can't yet. I want to be able to say that my city council is leading its city, my city, to recognize their responsibilities, not only to each other, but to all other human beings in this world. That the preservation of human life is the moral imperative of human existence, regardless of those who wish to make political expediency the currency of every interaction. But I can't yet. I want to be able to say that my city council understands that the lack of sufficient vocational education seats for our high school students is directly connected to the way in which our country conducts its foreign policy, but I can't yet. I want to be able to say that my city cares not just for its own prosperity and safety, but that of all people in our state, our country, and our world, because the citizens of my city and its leaders understand that we are all intimately connected to each other and that what happens to one of us happens to all of us. But I can't yet. I want to be able to say that my whole city council has the courage to be more than bean counters and deciders of sidewalk improvement locations, and that it had the courage to say no to the total destruction of a people, some of whose family members, friends, and colleagues live right next door, eat at the same restaurants, cheer for the same sports teams, sell them their groceries, treat their illnesses, vote in the same elections, and serve Beverly in myriad ways, but I can't yet. I want to be able to say that all members of my city council know that what a genocide looks like, that it doesn't take an ornithologist to tell us that if it looks, walks, and quacks like a duck, it's a duck. That not only do they recognize a genocide when they see one, like most of the rest of the world does, they are prepared to do what they can to stop it by calling for an end to further financial support for Israel to continue the destruction. But I can't yet. I want to be able to say that the hearts of the members of my city council are broken by the reality that some 13,000 plus Gazan children, many with bodies damaged beyond repair, are orphans with no homes to return to. That when they look at their own children and grandchildren, they understand that their children are owed a world that cares about and for all children. And that because of that knowledge, they will act to protect the children of Gaza from further harm. That when their children and grandchildren say, Mom, Dad, Grammy, Grandpa, what did you do to stop the murder of Palestinian children? That they can say, I voted to pass a resolution to stop supporting the slaughter and sent it to our president. But I can't yet. I want to be able to say that when the members of my city council sit down to a meal and thank whatever higher power they believe in for its bounty, that they know that the people in Gaza are dying of forced starvation. And because of that knowledge, they have joined with the more than 150 other councils and multiple governments around the world to call for a permanent ceasefire and cessation of military aid to Israel and a real resumption of humanitarian aid, including medical supplies, food, and water. But I can't yet, knowing that it's not nearly enough. that it is only one act in a collective will for peace, my question to you is this: when will I be able to say these things? When will I be able to praise this council for doing the simple, most basic moral act that is required to stop the genocide in Palestine? To take out of the file and pass the ceasefire resolution set before you. When? If not now, when? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Mason, and I want to thank you again for your patience, waiting, and understanding how our public hearings work, so I appreciate that. We had one other speaker. I'll just try one more time. I know some folks joined us. Jean Fana. Is Jean here? Okay. I just didn't want someone to miss their chance if they were not here yet. So thank you to our public speakers. Thank you again for your understanding about juggling around the public hearing. It's appreciated. And as I mentioned, the next agenda the clerk will be opening up will be the May 20th meeting. I've really lost track of days. May 20th, and so that will be starting tomorrow morning. Thank you again for being here and for our public speakers. And we will move now to acceptance of minutes of previous meetings. We have 5 sets of minutes we can approve. These are minutes from our regular city council meeting, February 5th, 2024, our legal affairs committee meeting, February 12th, 2024, our Public Services Committee meeting, February 12th, 2024, our regular City Council meeting, February 20th, 2024, and our Legal Affairs Committee meeting, March 25th, 2024. Councilors, I would entertain a motion to approve those 5 sets of meeting minutes. All those in favor? That carries 8-0 with thanks to our Assistant Clerk, Ms. Dixon, for the work on all those minutes. Thank you, Ms. Dixon, for getting those to us and for having such thorough minutes provided. Ms. Kent, let's go to communications from His Honor the Mayor, please.
Order number 117, dear Honorable City Council, I am pleased to inform you that the City of Beverly has received a $10,000 donation from One Stop Harm Reduction Program via the North Shore Health Project. The donation will be used by the Beverly Police Department Community Impact Unit, CIU, to address substance abuse reduction for the following efforts: opiate trainings for the community and rank file officers, Adaxolone training for residents and businesses, purchase equipment used by CIU, radios, office supplies, cost for literature and handouts, overtime costs associated with aforementioned trainings, overtime costs associated with door knocks, community outreach by officers. Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53A requires both City Council and Mayor approval before any grant, earmark, donation, or gift to the city can be expended for the prescribed purpose. I therefore request the City Council approve this donation. Sincerely yours, Michael P. Cahill, Mayor.
Please refer that to the Committee on Finance and Property.
Order number 118, dear Honorable City Council, the Beverly Fire Department has received a donation of an automated external defibrillator from Beverly resident David Allen. The Zoll AED-3 has an estimated value of $3,000 as a complete unit and is a critical life-saving device. Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53A requires both City Council and Mayor approval before any grant, earmark, donation, or gift to the city can be expended for their prescribed purpose. Sincerely yours, Michael P. Cahill, Mayor, and Peter O'Connor, Fire Chief.
Thank you. Please refer that to the Committee on Finance and Property as well.
Order number 119, dear Honorable City Council, I respectfully request a transfer of $750,000 to fund the installation of stands and lighting for the high school turf field. This funding will be combined with $300,000 of school ESSER funds to provide a total project budget of up to $1 million. As many Beverly residents understand, no seating currently exists for spectators of spring, summer, and fall youth and school sporting events at the high school turf field. This forces spectators to stand or place personal chairs on the track and/or play field, which can damage these services. In addition, lighting will allow for fall and spring games to take place after dusk, helping to facilitate greater attendance for parents and additional time that the fields are available for many sports that utilize them. To facilitate this transfer, we look to two previously completed project funds that have closed out and have remaining funds in them. First, the general fund has transferred $190,000 of free cash in fiscal year 2017 to facilitate an airport easement project, Fund 618, in anticipation of reimbursement from the FAA upon completion. The project is completed, the FAA has reimbursed the funds, and the $190,000 can be transferred and repurposed. In fiscal year 2018, the city transferred funds to facilitate the retrofitting of all streetlights with LED bulbs, Fund 612. After some time, the city has received all of its entitled rebates from the electric company for the project, and we are looking to repurpose $560,000 of those rebates for this project. These transfers require a public hearing to be set at your next council meeting. Sincerely yours, Michael P. Cahill, Mayor.
Please refer that to the Committee on Finance and Property to set that public hearing.
Order number 120, dear Honorable City Council, I respectfully request that you approve a fund balance transfer of $1,100,000 from the Water Enterprise Fund to cover project costs associated with water main work plan for Hale Street between Haskell Street and West Street. The project consists of replacing roughly 2,000 feet of 6 and 8-inch water main that was originally installed between 1897 and 1904. Some work will also take place on the side streets to connect into existing mains. The new 12-inch main will tie into modern 12-inch mains on either side of the project, thereby providing vastly improved fire protection and water quality to the immediate and surrounding area. The work will likely take place between 2 and 3 months to complete if the weather cooperates, and after completion, the road will be ready for paving work. The project is consistent with the city's capital plan and efforts to replace water mains on an ongoing basis, and sufficient fund balances exist in the Water Enterprise Fund to support this transfer. Please initiate action at your upcoming meeting. Sincerely yours, Michael P. Cahill, Mayor.
Please refer that to the Committee on Finance and Property to set that public hearing as well.
Order number 121, dear Honorable City Council, please consider the proposed attached amendments to Chapter 270 of the City Ordinance relative to parking regulations on LP Henderson Road near Birch Plains Park. The Parking and Traffic Commission voted unanimously 7-0 on April 2nd, 2024 to support the amendments. As the spring 2024 youth sports season nears and pickleball players begin to play on the new courts at Birch Plains, we anticipate greater demand for safe and organized parking in this area. A previously constructed private development project installed sidewalks on the south side of LP Henderson Road along the project frontage. The city intends to pick up where the sidewalk left off and continue to the intersection of Cabot Street. The installation of new sidewalks on the south side of LP Henderson Road requires a new regulation on parking to ensure that parked cars will not impede the traffic lane. Our goal in amending the parking ordinance LP Henderson Drive is to better meet the needs of the many residents and visitors we hope will come and enjoy our beautiful playing fields and new courts in the months and years to come. I respectfully request that you include this filing on your April 16th meeting. Sincerely yours, Michael P. Cahill, Mayor.
Please refer that to the Committee on Legal Affairs. Let's go to communications from other city officers and boards, please.
Order number 122 from Dr. Chirojek of the Superintendent of Schools, request to enter lease purchase transaction with Apple for student laptops for the 1-on-1 laptop initiative at Beverly High School.
Please refer that to the Committee on Finance and Property.
Order number 123 from Chief LaLatcher, a donation of $10,734.57 in office supplies to help with IT needs to the Beverly Police Department for a guarantee home mortgage. From, not for.
Please, that would be a different thing.
Yeah.
Please refer that to the Committee on Finance and Property as well.
Order number 124 from the Finance Director Brian Ailes, request for approval to use FY 2024 appropriated funds toward the payment of 2 prior year invoices totaling $8,125.
Please refer that to the Committee on Finance and Property.
Order number 125 from the City Clerk, a renewal application for an ice cream truck vending permit for Anwar Kataba.
Please refer that to the Committee on Legal Affairs.
Order number 126 from the City Clerk, a renewed application for an ice cream truck vending permit for Stephen Wright.
Please refer that to the Committee on Legal Affairs.
Order number 127 from the City Clerk, a renewal application for pawnbroker's license for Nyon Group, DBA Cash Point.
Please refer that to the Committee on Legal Affairs.
Order number 128 from the City Clerk, a second-hand dealer list of license renewals for 2024.
Please refer that to the Committee on Legal Affairs.
Order number 129 from the city clerk, a petroleum storage registration renewal list for 2024.
Please refer that to the Committee on Legal Affairs.
Order 130 from Council Rotundo, a request to make an amendment to ordinance section 270-66 downtown Beverly Parking District.
Councilor Rotundo, is there anything you'd like to say about this order at this point?
Not at this moment, thank you.
Thank you. We'll refer that to the Committee on Legal Affairs as well, and thank you for your work on that, Councilor Rotundo. Oh, thank you. Order 131 is a letter from me, and we can approve 131 on the floor if there's a motion to approve. Wow, that was,
Microphones.
thank you.
I know you're all excited to keep me, but you gotta put your microphones on.
For those of us who might not know what Order 131 is, this is a recommendation from the council president to reappoint Ms. Kent as the city clerk and clerk of the council for a term of 2 years. We had a motion to approve and a second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? Thank you. That carries 8-0. And thank you, Ms. Kent, for the work that you and your team do for the council and for our city. And 132 is going to be referred to Finance and Property. This is a recommendation for a salary increase for the city clerk for FY 2025. So we'll refer that to Finance and Property. Let's go to communications, applications, and petitions, please.
Order number 133 from the Department of Environmental Protection, a draft waterways license, Endicott College Short Line Stabilization Project Phase 2.
I would entertain a motion to receive this and place it on file. All those in favor? Thank you. That's 8-0 to receive and place on file.
Order number 134, the Department of Environmental Protection Waterway Application for Waterways License Chapter 91, Waterways License 163 and 167 West Street.
I would entertain a motion to receive this and place it on file as well. All those in favor? Thank you. Carries 8-0 to receive and place on file.
Order number 135 from National Grid, a petition plan 306-00267, Goat Hill Lane to install 105-foot plus or minus of 2-4 PVC conduits.
Please refer that to the Committee on Public Services to set a public hearing. At this point, I would, first of all, I've been remiss in not thanking some of our city, acknowledging and thanking some of our city staff who are here. So before we take a break for committee, I'd like to just acknowledge those folks who are here with us. Jean Sherburne, our Beverly Public Schools Finance and Operations Director, is here. Thank you, Ms. Sherburne, for being here with us this evening. We have Peter O'Connor, our Fire Chief, here with us this evening. Thank you, Chief O'Connor, as well as John Lasher, our Beverly Police Chief. Thank you, Chief, for being here as well. Jocelyn Royal-Kursker, our Chief of Staff from the Mayor's Office, is here. Thank you, Ms. Royal-Kursker, for being here. And Stephanie Williams, our City Solicitor, as well as Jesse Dole, one of our Assistant Solicitors, are here from the Solicitor's Office. Thank you both also for joining us this evening. So I would entertain a motion to take a break for some, a brief break for some committee work. All those in favor? That carries 8-0. Let's have Finance and Property stay here. Legal Affairs in the committee room, Public Services on the bench. Good, everyone.
Call to order Committee on Finance and Property. President President Flowers, it's you and I tonight.
All right.
Number of items before us. I think we'll start with Order 117, which is a donation of $10,000 from One Stop Harm Reduction Program via the North Shore Health Project for the Beverly Police Department for addressing substance abuse reduction. Any comments, Chief, on this?
One Stop has been, thank you, by the way, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
They've made several donations to the community impact line, and it just gives us the ability to get more offices with recovery coaches, two people who have had overdoses or recovery issues, and take our volunteers and our clinician out to these calls. So again, by having that extra funding, we can then use the funding, the budgeted funding, for extra patrols and things with the parks and youth services, things we do. So it helps us offset those other operations.
I know this has been a big issue, so thank you. Questions, Councilman President Flowers?
No, it seems like a donation that will be really put to good use by our officers, and much appreciated.
Okay, I entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
All in favor? Aye. All second. All in favor? Aye. Approved 2-0.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Chief.
Chief.
Okay, so we'll move on to Order 118, which is another donation. This is from a resident, David Allen, for an automated external defibrillator to the Beverly Police Department. Chief O'Connor, it seems like a timely request, so you want to tell us a little bit about this?
Thank you very much. David Allen was very kind, generous to step up and replace a defibrillator that was just lost through a series of unfortunate events. So it was great to hear from him. It was coordinated through Councilor Rotondo. I know he reached out, so we truly appreciate this.
Did he happen to have one, or did he buy one?
He bought one.
Well, that's
Yeah,
nice
he
of
got it rapidly delivered to us and everything else.
Thank you, Mr. Allen.
Yes.
President Flowers, any comments or questions?
Just, can you remind me, Chief, the location, is this going to replace in the exact location of the one that was
It will, yes, it will be on engine one.
on engine one? Thank you.
I would entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second, all in favor? Aye.
Thanks.
This is approved 2-0. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
So move on to Order 119. This is the transfer request for $750,000 from the mayor for the installation of lights and stands at the high school turf field. This requires a public hearing, so I would entertain a motion to set a public hearing on May 6th at 8 p.m.
So moved.
Second, all in favor? Aye. Be a public hearing on May 6th. Approved 2-0. Moving on to Order number 120. This was the fund balance transfer request from the mayor for $1.1 million from the Water Enterprise Fund to cover project costs associated with the Hale Street water line work. This is one I'm very familiar with as the Ward 6 counselor, and very thankful to the mayor for moving forward with this request. I would entertain a motion to set a public hearing on May 6th at 8:30 p.m.
So moved.
I'll second that, and all in favor? Aye. Approved 2-0. Public hearing is set for May 6th as well. Okay, let's see. See Ms. Sherburne here. We'll take up Order number 122. This is the request from Dr. Tarocek to enter into a lease with Apple for the one-to-one laptop program. Ms. Sherburne, you have any comments on this one? I know we've had this request before us before.
Yes, this is the same request that we've had, this, I think, our 13th year.
Wow.
That's coming up. So this is for a year, 4-year lease payment, and the lease payments are gonna be the same as we're currently this year. So the payments for the students getting the laptops will be the same.
Well, that's great.
Yep, and again, we still offer 20% off 40 and 60 as scholarships due to financial need.
Thank you. President Flowers, any questions or comments?
Just one is I think it's great that the cost to students is going to remain the same. Is that because the cost of the district has remained the same, or is that a concerted effort on the part of the district to absorb some of the costs to make sure that students are not paying more?
No, it's maintaining the cost. It's, they come out, we're not getting the newest model that's being unveiled. It would be one year less, so. So yeah, we're trying to be able to support the program with the students not getting hit with elevated rates. And right now, Apple doesn't charge us interest, which is a good thing that we've been able to do.
Great, thank you.
Okay, entertain a motion to approve the request.
So moved.
I'll second. All in favor? Aye. Approved 2-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, where are we here? Order 123. So this is another donation for $10,734.57 in office supplies to help with IT needs at the Beverly Police Department. And this is a donation from Gratuity Home Mortgage. Chief, what does $10,000 of office supplies look like?
So thank you again. So this was a company that was downsizing and moving some office space out. So they had quite a bit of computer monitors, mice, keypads, things to that effect. I believe a couple of printers that they weren't going to be using. There was a connection to the department, so they made the donate. They wanted to donate that property directly to the department. This will offset our costs again because we're being a 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week operation. We go through laptop, computer monitors, we go through keypads, so this will defer some of the costs usually that are passed on to the city. What we also plan to do, once we go through everything, anything that's not used or we don't keep as spares, I'm going to open it up to other city departments, and I'll make sure those items get to be used by every city department.
Well, it was very nice of them. Are they at the Cumming Center?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, it worked out. Questions, President Flowers, comments? Okay. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
I would entertain a motion to approve this donation.
So moved.
I'll second, and all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approve that 2-0. Making our way through the list here, order number 124. This is a request from Finance Director Brian Ailes for the approval to pay for some prior year invoices, $8,125. I don't see Mr. Ailes here. Look pretty straightforward to me. Do you have any questions or comments, President Flowers?
I don't, I agree that they look straightforward and
Okay.
seem on their face to be pretty easy to discern what's going on.
Okay, so I guess I'd entertain a motion that we approve that.
So moved.
I'll second, and we'll approve that 2-0. Ms. Ken, I didn't see on your list here, order 132. Are we able to take that one up? Yes. Okay. I wasn't sure if it was coming. Yeah, so I would like to take that one up if we can, order 132. President Flowers, is your recommendation for the salary increase for Ms. Kent and the city clerk position. I think it seems to make a lot of sense to me, and I would entertain a motion that we approve that.
So moved.
I'll second, and all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Approved 2-0. Okay, the other orders related to the HVAC at the library, I think I'll hold on to for now. Order 111, that's before us in the regular council meeting, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And order 116, I think I'll hold on to for now. And with that, I think our agenda is complete for tonight.
All
And I would entertain a motion to adjourn the Committee on Finance and Property.
So moved.
I'll second, and all in favor? Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I will call the full council back to order following our committee work. I know BevCam is back and rolling, so we'll get right back to it. Ms. Kent, let's go to reports from committees.
Order number 117, the Committee on Finance and Property, to whom refer the matter regarding a donation of $10,000 from One Stop Harm Reduction Program via the North Shore Health Project to be used by the Beverly Police Department's Community Impact Unit to address substance abuse reduction, have considered said matter and beg leave to follow. Recommend the council approve this request.
Questions or comments? Question comes on the acceptance of the proposal and adoption of the order. All those in favor, aye. Aye. Carries 7-0. Thank you. And thank you also to One Stop Harm Reduction for that donation. 7-0?
Oh, okay. Order number 118, the Committee on Finance and Property, to whom refer the matter regarding a donation for an automated external defibrillator to the Beverly Fire Department from Beverly resident David Allen, have considered said matter and beg leave to follow. Recommend the council approve this request.
Questions or comments on this one? Question comes on the acceptance of the proposal and adoption of the order. All those in favor, aye. That carries 8-0, and thank you also to David Allen for that generous donation of a defibrillator at a time that we really needed one, and it's going to go to great use.
Order number 123, the Committee on Finance and Property, to whom refer the matter regarding a donation of $10,734.57 and office supplies to help with IT needs to the Beverly Police Department for from Guarantee Home Mortgage. Have considered said matter and beg leave to follow. Request the council approve this request.
Questions or comments on this one? Question comes on the acceptance of the proposal and adoption of the order. All those in favor, aye. That carries 8-0, and thanks also to Guarantee Home Mortgage for that donation of office supplies.
Order number 111, the Committee on Finance and Property, to whom refer the matter regarding a proposal that the City Council adopt the local option exemption allowed under Mass General Law, Chapter 59, Section 5C and a half, and set the increased exemption at 100% of the personal exemption offered under Mass General Laws, Chapter 59, Section 5, have considered said matter and beg leave to follow. Recommend the council approve this request.
Questions or comments on this one? Question comes on the acceptance of the proposal and adoption of the order. All those in favor, aye. Aye. That carries 8-0, and thanks to Councillor Sweeney for filing that one. I know Councillor Sweeney's not here this evening, but we did have a chance to discuss that in Finance and Property in our last subcommittee meeting, and appreciate his work on that.
Order number 119, the Committee on Finance and Property, to whom refer the matter regarding a transfer request of $750,000 to fund installation of stands and lighting for the high school turf field. Have said a public hearing for May 6th at 8 p.m.
Questions or comments? I would entertain a motion to set that public hearing as recommended for our May 6th meeting, 8 p.m. All those in favor? Thank you. That carries 8-0. Thank you, Councillor Rotundo. getting the ball rolling there.
Order number 120, the Committee on Finance and Property, to whom refer the matter regarding a fund balance transfer request of $1,100,000 from the Water Enterprise Fund to cover project costs associated with the water main work plan for Hale Street, have considered said matter and beg leave to follow. Set a public hearing on May 6th at 8:30 p.m.
I would entertain a motion to set that public hearing as recommended for our regular meeting on May 6th at 8:30 p.m. So moved. All those in favor? Thank you. That carries 8-0. So we'll have two public hearings that we just set in that next regular meeting, one at 8, one at 8:30 p.m.
Order number 122, the Committee on Finance and Property, whom refer the matter regarding a request to enter a lease purchase transaction with Apple for student laptops for the one-on-one laptop initiative at Beverly High School, have considered said matter and beg leave to follow. Recommend the council approve this request.
Questions or comments on this one? Councilor Bowen.
Thank you. I just had one question, and I don't know whether it was covered in committee. If not, I'm happy to follow up afterwards because it doesn't change my opinion on it. But it seems like we're ordering fewer laptops at higher costs. I know everything has inflated, but was that discussed in terms of are we getting still what we need in something that fits in the school budget?
Councilor St. Hilaire, do you want to address that as the chair?
Trying. I don't know if we discussed that specifically. This is the 13th year of the program. It's been very successful. Ms. Sherburne spoke to the fact that the cost for students was not going to be going up, which we felt like was an important factor here. So Seems like they've got what they need.
Thank you, counselors, both counselors. Any other questions or comments on Order 122? Question comes on the acceptance of the proposal and adoption of the order. All those in favor, aye. That carries 8-0. And thanks to Ms. Sherburne, our school's finance director, for being here with us earlier. She was not able to stay for this portion, but appreciate that she was able to be here in our subcommittee.
Order number 124, the Committee on Finance and Property, to whom refer the matter regarding a request for approval to use FY 2024 appropriated funds towards the payment of 2 prior year invoices totaling $8,125. Have considered said matter and beg leave to follow. Recommend the council approve this request.
Questions or comments on this one? Yes. Councilor Houseman.
Yes, I have a question for members of the Finance and Property. I wasn't really sure. I was hoping maybe Mr. Ailes would be here, but he's not. What exactly are gas services that are provided to the city? Do we know what that means? Do I have the right order?
We do. We did not ask that in subcommittee, council.
I guess I'll follow up with him then. I'm just curious about two invoices for quoted gas services. I just don't know what that means. So, all right, thank you. I'll follow up with him directly.
Thank you, Councilor. Are there any other questions or comments on Order 124? Question comes on the acceptance of the proposal and adoption of the order. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
That carries 8-0.
Order number 132, the Committee on Finance and Property, to whom refer the matter regarding a recommendation salary increase for the city clerk for FY 2025, have considered said matter and beg leave to follow. Recommend the council approve this request.
Questions or comments on this one? Question comes on the acceptance of the proposal and adoption of the order. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Thank you. That carries 8-0.
Order number 109, the Committee on Legal Affairs, to whom refer the matter regarding an appointment and a waiver of residency requirement for Thomas Holland, 12 Edel Avenue, Wenham, to serve on the Economic and Community Development Council, have considered said matter and beg leave to follow. Recommend the council approve this appointment.
Thank you. This actually requires 2 votes, so first we'll take a motion to approve that waiver for the residency requirement for Mr. Thomas Holland to be able to serve. So is there a motion to approve the request for a waiver?
So moved.
Second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
That carries 8-0. And so that's to approve the request for the waiver of residency. Of course, Mr. Holland does own a business here in Beverly, which is why that's being requested. And then is there a motion to approve this appointment?
So moved.
Any other discussion on this one? All those in favor?
Aye.
That carries 8-0, and thank you to Mr. Holland for being willing to serve in that capacity.
Order number 125, the Committee on Legal Affairs, to whom refer the matter regarding a renewal application for an ice cream truck vendor permit for Anwa Kataba, have considered said matter and beg leave to follow. Recommend the license be granted.
Questions or comments on this one? Question comes on the acceptance of the proposal and adoption of the order. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
That carries 8-0.
Order number 126, Committee on Legal Affairs, to whom refer the matter regarding a renewal application for an ice cream truck vendor permit for Stephen Wright. Have considered said matter and beg leave to follow. Recommend the license be granted.
Questions or comments on this one? Question comes on the acceptance of the proposal and adoption of the order. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Carries 8-0.
Order number 127, the Committee on Legal Affairs, to whom refer the matter regarding a renewal application for a pawnbroker's license for Nyan Group, DBA Cash Point. Have considered said matter and beg leave to follow. Recommend the license be granted.
Questions or comments on this one? Question comes on the acceptance of the proposal and adoption of the order. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
That carries 8-0.
Order number 128, the Committee on Legal Affairs, to whom refer the matter regarding petroleum storage registration renewals for 2024, have considered said matter and beg leave to follow. Recommend the licenses be granted.
Questions or comments on this one? Question comes on the acceptance of the proposal and adoption of the order. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
That carries 8-0.
Order number 129, the Committee on Legal Affairs, to whom refer the matter regarding secondhand junk deal license renewals for 2024, have considered said matter and beg leave to follow. Recommend the license be granted. Licenses be granted.
Questions or comments? Question comes on the acceptance of the proposal and adoption of the order. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
That carries 8-0 as well.
Order number 110, the Committee on Legal Affairs, to whom refer the matter regarding application for a license to move an Essex River Church Bible box to a new location, have considered said matter and beg leave to follow. The recommendation was not approved. 0-3, motion failed.
Thank you. So, Counselor Houseman, do you want to say anything about this order?
Yeah, I just comment that we have already voted and will vote again this evening on the approval of a new sign regime, if you will, permitting regime through the planning department. This particular application is sort of a legacy renewal. And we all felt that it should be subject to the new, presumably soon-to-be adopted sign permitting or sidewalk object permitting process. And therefore, it felt that it should be voted down so that it could go through that process that the council is in the process of approving that the administration proposed.
Thank you very much, Counselor Houseman. Are there other questions or comments then on this one? So the question comes on the acceptance of the proposal and adoption of the order. All those in favor? Oh.
If we're in favor.
Microphone.
If you're in favor, you're voting it up, and if you are following the recommendation of the subcommittee, you would vote it down. Is that helpful? Okay. So all those in favor? All those opposed? Thank you. That fails 0-8.
Order 64, the BAT Enterprises, it said it was approved, but it doesn't say it on here for livery license. On.
Yes, this was.
Okay. Order number 64, the Committee on Legal Affairs, to whom refer the matter regarding a livery license renewal application for BAT Enterprises LLC located at 19 Beckford Street, have considered said matter and beg leave to follow. Recommend approve this license be granted.
Questions or comments? Question comes on the acceptance of the proposal and adoption of the order. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Thank you. That carries 8-0. I don't know. I'm sorry. I glitched for a minute. I don't know what happened.
Okay, order 104, the Committee on Public Services, to whom refer the matter regarding National Grid Work Order 90000229943 at 46 River Street, have considered said matter and beg leave to follow. Recommend the petition be granted.
Questions or comments? Question comes on the acceptance of the proposal and adoption of the order. All those in favor, aye. That carries 8-0. Thank you, Ms. Cuddy, for being here with us this evening and for helping to answer some of our questions.
Order number 107, the Committee on Public Services, to whom refer the matter regarding an appointment for Robin Larazano Gillette to serve on the Beverly Airport Commission, have considered said matter and beg leave to follow. Recommend the council approve this appointment.
Questions or comments? Question comes on the acceptance of the proposal and adoption of the order. All those in favor, aye. That carries 8-0. And thank you to Robin Gillette for being willing to serve in that capacity.
Order number 108, the Committee on Public Services, to whom refer the matter regarding an appointment for Peggy Conlon to serve on the Beverly Culture Council, have considered said matter and beg leave to follow. Recommend the council approve this appointment.
Questions or comments on this one? Question comes on the acceptance of the proposal and adoption of the order. All those in favor, aye. That carries 8-0, with our thanks also to Peggy Conlon for being willing to serve on the Cultural Council.
Order number 135, the Committee on Public Services, to whom refer the matter regarding National Grid Petition Plan 306-00267, Goat Hill Lane, to install 105 foot of 2-4 PVC conduits, have considered said matter and set a public hearing for May 20th at 7:45 PM.
I would entertain a motion to set that hearing as recommended for our May 20th meeting at 7:45 PM. Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
That carries 8-0. And we will have that public hearing at our May 20th meeting, 7:45 PM on that National Grid petition.
I think that's all from committee.
That's all the reports from committee. Thank you. We do have one item under unfinished business from a previous meeting, and this is Order 46. These were proposed amendments to the city ordinances that came out of work done last term in legal affairs.
Order 67, 46.
46. Did I say that wrong?
What can I see?
Oh, sorry, you're here, but I'm just pausing here.
okay,
No,
thank
you're,
you.
you're right too.
Okay.
You're also right. So
You scared me.
Sorry. I just wanted to mention that our city solicitor, Ms. Williams, will be with us at our next regular meeting so that we can walk through those proposed amendments and wrap up Order 46. Thank you, Solicitor Williams, for being willing to do that with us. I know I've been promising that will be coming, and it is coming at our next regular meeting. And now, motions and orders. Ms. Kent, Order 67 is under motions and orders, and it's available for final passage this evening. Ms. Kent.
Order number 67, the Committee on, oh, wait a minute. That's not what I have to read. Ordered, Section 113-2, possession or consumption on public ways in public places or in private property is amended by striking the existed subparagraph C and inserting a new subparagraph C as follows. Notwithstanding subsection A, establishments operating with the city which possess an on-premises alcoholic beverage license may be allowed to operate and serve alcohol on city sidewalks subject to approval of the licensing board and the requirements of section 253-24C. Holders of a permit issued under 270-3 may be allowed to operate and serve alcohol with the approval of the licensing board. Section 192-61, sandwich board signs, is amended by striking the existing language in its entirety as follows. I don't need to read all that. I don't think it's all struck out, right? Section 253-24, signs, awnings, and displays, is amended by striking the existing language in its entirety and inserting new language as follows. Objects or items projecting over or placed on public ways and sidewalks. A, objects or items projecting over public ways or sidewalks, no person shall place or maintain any object or item, including but not limited to, in sign as defined by section 300-5, awning or shade or frame for the same, in a manner that projects over or in any manner overhangs or is suspended over in any public way or sidewalk, provided, however, that the sign, awning, or shade or frame for the same may be placed or maintained in a manner that projects over or in any manner overhangs or is suspended over a public sidewalk as long as, 1, any such object or item is attached to or extends from a building over which the owner of such object or item has a right of control. 2, the lowest part of any awning or shade or frame for the same is not less than 7 feet above the sidewalk. Number 3, the lowest part of any sign is not less than 9 feet above the sidewalk. And number 4, any such object or item does not interfere with pedestrian or vehicle traffic. B, objects or items placed on public ways or sidewalks, no person shall place or maintain any object or item, including but not limited to any sign as defined by section 300-5, display, table, seating, stand, rack, flower pot, container, booth, partition, barrier, goods, wares, or other articles on any public way or sidewalk without a permit from the planning department in accordance with subsection C below. The planning department is hereby authorized to issue a permit for the placements of objects or items, including but not limited to any sign as defined by section 300-5, displayed table, seating, stand, rack, flower pot, container, booth, partition, barrier, goods, wares, or other articles on public ways or sidewalks. The planning department shall create rules, regulations, and application process for the issuance of any such permit. The following minimum rules shall apply. Number 1, permits must be renewed annually. Number 2, any applicant for a permit under this section must be lawfully operating a business at the property that is adjacent to or contiguous with public way or sidewalk for which a permit is sought, and the placement of any object or item must be in furtherance of said business. Number 3, a current certificate of general or commercial liability insurance in the amount of $1 million, naming the city of Beverly as an additional insured, shall be provided for as long as the objects or items are occupying any public way or sidewalk. Number 4, any approved objects or items shall not put the safety of the public at risk or impede or interfere with pedestrian and vehicle traffic. Number 5, any approved objects or items shall be located in a manner that allows any access required by the Americans with Disabilities Act and Mass Architectural Access Board regulations. Before any permit is issued, the following city departments as applicable shall review and approve any applications submitted. Planning Department, Municipal Inspection Department, Police Department, Fire Department, and/or Departments of Public Services. In addition to these departments approved by the Health Department and the Licensing Board shall be required if the applicant operates an establishment that serves food and/or alcohol. The City Council may revoke any permit for failure to comply with the terms and conditions of the permit, this section, or any other rule, regulation, or law. Enforcement and violations, the Director of Municipal Inspections or the designee shall enforce the provisions of this section. Violations of the provisions of this section shall be a warning for the first offense and a fine of $100 for the second or subsequent offenses, with each day of violations constituting a separate offense. Number 4, Section 253-35, Public Meetings and Streets. Temporary stands for selling goods is amended by striking the existing language in its entirety as follows. And it's
Thank you. Thank you. So as I mentioned, this is for final passage this evening. Is there a motion to approve Order 67? Any further discussion? All those in favor? That carries 8-0, and that is for final passage. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Ms. Kent, for reading that for us. That brings us to the end of our agenda. Councilor Houseman, you look like you're ready to say something.
In fact, I am. It's very observant of you, Council President.
Thank you.
You may want to, at your discretion, ask the city solicitor whether it's appropriate, but I've spoken with the solicitor's office, and it's been indicated to me that if I wish to make a statement, which I do, regarding the library vote, which is a matter now disposed of by the council, that would not be out of order as something not anticipated by the chair, and again, as something that's already been disposed of by the council in its vote. If you'd like to ask the solicitors to comment before I say something, or ask you if I can say something, this is the moment.
Oh, sure. I'm going to assume that Councilor Houseman is in fact reporting accurately, but Solicitor,
He is.
sounds
and
like it would be appropriate for him to.
Right, just to clarify, and it's because the open meeting law allows, at the discretion of the chair, or the president in this case, if it's not reasonably anticipated, at least 48 hours before the meeting at your discretion, a statement can be made. And especially where this is just, it's a statement, there's not going to be a deliberation. I think it's low risk.
Okay, thank you, Solicitor. So before we have if there are general announcements or reminders, Councilor Husband, you were not able to be with us when we had our vote on the proposed HVAC system and loan authorization. So if you would like to have an opportunity just to share your thoughts, we'll do that, and then we'll go to any reminders or updates from councilors before we close.
Thank you very much. So I'll be relatively brief. My comments about the outcome of the library vote is that the outcome really was largely due to a failure of the administration to have in place an effective protocols for capital expenditure project management in its relationships with the council. And it seems to me perhaps even internally. Most, if not all, of the city council over the years since 2011, when Beverly first became a green community, one of the first in the Commonwealth, the council has unanimously supported the administration's clean energy leadership. And I think we can and will again, if Mayor Cahill delivers on his statement, on his commitment that he made at our last meeting, which I was listening on BevCam, to provide progress reports to the council on its capital expenditure projects in an orderly, effective, and regular manner. For me, that means delivering on that commitment before another vote is taken on another capital expenditure project, and we do have one that's coming up before us in our near future agenda. So I call on the mayor really to deliver on the commitment, on the statement that he made at our meeting last week, about making regular reports. And I think it's perhaps worth elaborating a little bit on the condition that I had introduced to the council before about a report every 3 months that sets forth benchmarks going forward for the coming 3 months, and the benchmarks that were backward-looking to see whether or not they were met or not. I didn't make that up. I'm certainly no expert on this, but interestingly, at least for me, I reached out to both Beverly Crossing, Chris Copeland of Beverly Crossing, and Steve Drahowski at Cummings Center, and said, basically, I was looking for some input on how the administration of the council might communicate with each other on these kinds of projects, on at least my observation, that they both seem to run a pretty tight ship. So that's where that language came from, and I still think that it is something that the administration needs to provide to us. So agree or not with what the outcome of the library's vote. I think the council really did its job last week, and I'm very proud of the council as an institution for insisting upon both transparency and accountability from the administration. We can work and collaborate together, but that's a two-way street, and the administration has to, in my opinion, sort of seek advice and consent from the council. As Councilor Bowen observed at the meeting last week, I believe, there were a lot of decision trees that came and went that the council was not involved in. And if we had been involved in them, the outcome of that library vote might well have been different, because the decisions made along the way might well have been different. So I just want to say, again, I'm proud of what the council did, and I'm looking forward to Mayor Cahill delivering on his commitment that he made last week, hopefully before we have any more votes coming before us on additional capital expenditure projects. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Houseman. I will now just ask if there are, Councilor Spang, any other reminders, announcements from the council before we adjourn?
Thank you. Yes, the National Grid Citizens Advisory Committee meets again this Thursday at 5 o'clock at the library in the Barnett Gallery. And then on Saturday afternoon from 12 to 3, there's a Fix-It clinic at the library. So if anybody has objects at home that they would like help fixing, they have on the website a list of the types of repairs that they'll be prepared to do, help you learn to do, I should say.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilor Spang. Any other announcements? Councilor Crowley?
Yes, just wanted to remind folks, all the abutters in and around the neighborhoods, as far as the stadium and the field and stuff, received letters. The mayor is setting up a meeting for this week, Thursday from 5:30 to 7, for anybody to come in and talk about issues, concerns, or whatever that they may have with the lights in the stands at the high school. So just a reminder that that's coming up.
Thank you very much, Councilor. Any other announcements? Councilor Feldman.
Yes, thank you. There is a new community garden here in Beverly up at Marine Farms, and there is an in-person lottery this Saturday at Marine Farm, at the new farm at Marine Farm, and that is from 1 to 4, I believe.
Thank you very much, Councilor Feldman. Councilor Houseman.
Yes, next week, Wednesday, April 24th at 7 p.m. in the Sawyer Room at the Downtown Library, there is a celebration of the teen poetry contest held by the library. It's a terrific event. I've been there before. We have a lot of talented youth in the city, so everyone's welcome to attend that. I do have actually a question, which is, we have this new system, so I would gather is supposed to be an improvement over our old system with microphones, and yet they seem to be finicky, shall we say. They cut out when people are speaking at random moments, and I wonder if it's possible for the council to get some kind of input from someone, whoever it is responsible on the administration side, to come in and try to troubleshoot these things, or at least explain to us why they can't be repaired. Because at the moment, it seems as though, both for BevCam and for the public, they're really not working very well.
It is a work in progress, and we've had that request ongoing. So
excellent. Glad to hear that.
It's in process.
Thank you.
Any other reminders or announcements?
I do have one question for Councilor Crowley through you. Where is this meeting about the, it's going to be in council chambers this Thursday night, 5 o'clock?
5:30 to 7.
5:30 to 7. So that conflicts with the Citizen Advisory Committee, but we'll do what we can. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Any other announcements from councilors? Well, I will mention then that our next regular meeting is May 6th at 7 p.m. here in council chambers. As anyone following heard, we set 2 public hearings for that evening. We do have our city solicitor coming to work with us on finishing up the work on order number 46. This is proposed amendments to the city ordinances and perhaps of interest to those following, but also certainly to the council. Mayor Cahill will be here to offer his State of the City address to start the meeting. That will be the presentation at the outset of the meeting as well. And with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. That carries 8-0. Thanks to Kim in the BevCam booth. Thanks to everyone for joining us tonight. Good night, everyone. We are adjourned.